Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Astottara Sata Shishimad, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Ganga Devi Jamuna Devi Ki Jai, Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 53, Text 39. Evam prema kalabhadha vadanti sma purokasaha kanya chanta purat pragad bhattair guptam bikalayam. Evam prema kalabhadha vadanti sma purokasaha kanya chanta purat pragad bhattair guptam bikalayam. Evam prema kalabhadha vadanti sma purokasaha kanya chanta purat pragad bhattair guptam bikalayam. vadanti sma parokasaha. Kanya chantapurat pragad bhatar guptam bikalayam. Evam. Thus, prema of pure love, kala by the increase, badha bound, vadanti sma they spoke, pura okarsaha the residents of the city, kanya the bride, cha and antapurat from the inner palace, pragat went out, bhattai by guards, gupta protected, ambika alayam to the temple of goddess Ambika. Translation. Bound by their swelling love, the city's residents spoke in this way. Then the bride, protected by guards, left the inner palace to visit the temple of Ambika. Please repeat. By their swelling love, the city's residents spoke in this way. Then the bride, protected by guards, left the inner palace to visit the temple of Ambika. Purport by servants of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti quotes the Medini Dictionary's definition of the word kala as follows. Kala mule pravridho syach chiladav amsha matrake. The word kala means a root, increase, a stone, or a mere part. And I'm going to read Jiva Goswami's commentary. He writes, the residents spoke among themselves continually in this manner. They were not afraid of Rukmi because they were bound by effects of prema. Kala means producing, or they were bound by a particle, kala, of prema, which was pleasing to them. That prema was suitable for friendly emotions to the Lord and was exalted. They were bound up tightly by that particle of love. What then to speak of Rukmini and other women? The word cha indicates that Rukmini was aware of what the people spoke. Just as they had prema for her, she experienced prema for them. She also took their speech as an auspicious sign and therefore in joy entered the Durga temple. And Srila Prabhupada writes in Krishna book, out of curiosity and eagerness, the people of Kundina assembled before Krishna and Balaram to drink the nectar of their beauty. With tearful eyes, they offered Krishna and Balaram their silent respects. They were very much pleased, considering Lord Krishna the suitable match for Rukmini. They were so eager to unite Krishna and Rukmini that they prayed to the personality of Godhead, our dear Lord, if we have performed any pious activities with which you are satisfied, kindly be merciful upon us and accept the hand of Rukmini. It appears that Rukmini was a very popular princess, and all the citizens, out of intense love for her, prayed for her best fortune. In the meantime, Rukmini, being very nicely dressed and protected by bodyguards, came out of the palace to visit the temple of Ambika, goddess Durga. Om Jnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Dapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine. I offer my humble obeisances to Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled Vaishnavas, Maharaj and all the senior devotees here and all the Vaishnavas. And I'm grateful for opportunity to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam and to do this wonderful service, actually, of being together and churning the topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. So the word baddha means bound. And it's explaining here that the citizens were bound by swelling love. They were bound by love. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about this concept of baddha, binding, and what it means as far as relationship, loving relationship with Krishna. What stood out to me from Jiva Goswami's commentary is he says, the citizens were not afraid of Rukmi. So what were the citizens saying as Rukmini was coming? As they were seeing Krishna, they were, as Prabhu was talking about the other day, how beautiful that description was, how when the citizens saw Krishna entering into Vidarbha, they were seeing the beauty of Krishna, and with the cupped palms of their eyes, they drank the honey of his face. How beautiful that description is. And then the people were saying, Rukmini and no one else deserves to become his wife, and he also, possessing such flawless beauty, is the only suitable husband for Princess Baishmi. May Achyuta, the creator of the three worlds, be satisfied with whatever pious work we may have done and show his mercy by taking the hand of Vaidarbhi. So they're all the citizens are talking amongst each other, like, wow, Krishna is so beautiful. Rukmini is our dear, beloved princess. Prabhupada is saying that she was a very popular princess. Everyone loved her so much. And here it's saying they were bound by love. So they were all talking, we hope and we pray, and may all our pious credits go towards Rukmini and Krishna marrying. So this is the mood of the citizens. And Jiva Goswami is saying they're not afraid of Rukmi. They're saying all these things, they're talking to each other in love for Krishna and Rukmini, and they're not afraid because they're bound by that intense love. So that's the effect of prema, intense love, is that it brings fearlessness. And also, it also says that Rukmini had love for them too, which was really nice. I really liked Maharaj. Yesterday we were speaking about how that love is reciprocal, and that the citizens had so much love for the king, and the king had so much love for the citizens. And what to speak of the loving relationship between Krishna and his devotees that's ever increasing. It's like a competition. The devotees love Krishna as so much, and then Krishna, seeing their love, his love for them increases, and then their love for him increases, and it goes on and on and on. So that's the beauty of this baddha prema. It's the word is prema kala baddha, boundless, bound by swelling love. So in this world, we're also bound. As we know, Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, we're all bound here. Daiviyesha gunamayi, mama maya duratya. My illusory energy, maya, is very strong, impossible to overcome. And guna means rope. So we're bound here. And the reason why we're bound here is we wanted to, basically. We wanted to come here. So it's not Krishna's fault. It's our decision that we wanted to have this experience. We are eternally servants of Krishna, as explained, that we're eternal servants of Krishna, but we've willfully left that relationship to experience a situation where we could try to be the enjoyer. So in order for that to happen, Krishna created a situation where kind of illusory concept where we think we're this body and everything around us is ours and we're the controller and enjoyer. And in this way, Maya binds all of us. It's kind of like an invisible chain that's around all of our necks. You know, in the Bhagavad Gita, at the end of the 3rd chapter, Arjuna asks Krishna, what is it that impels people to do sinful activities, even though they know it's not good and they know there's bad reactions, but still they do it? What is that impelling force? And maybe we've all experienced that in our lives, that we do something again and again, even though we know it's not good, but somehow habitually or somehow or other, we just go again and again to those bad habits. And what is it that impels us? It's almost like there's a rope around our neck that's pulling us to do something, and our hand is grabbing, our eyes are looking, our nose is, it's like our senses just grab those things. So what is that? That's the ropes of the illusory energy Maya that's so strong. And Krishna says, kama esha, krota esha. It's that desire to enjoy separately from Krishna that's so strong that it's impelling us even to do things that maybe that is not conducive to us. So actually the greatest problem in life is that we are eternal beings, part and parcel of Krishna, but we're identifying with something that we are not. So can you imagine that if you're living a life in a reality, let's say there's a child who's playing a video game and the child is completely absorbed with that character in the video game, and imagine that the child never gets out of that and always is in that state of, I'm that character, and never leaves that state his whole life. I mean, that would be almost, like it would be, madness, yeah. So we are in that state where we're identifying with something that we're not, and because we are in that state, we are in fear, constant fear. So here it was in Jiva Goswami's explaining how the citizens are not afraid because they're bound by love. And here we're bound by Maya and we're constant fear. Because we're eternal beings and we're in a temporary world, everything is slipping out of our hands. It's natural to be afraid. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there is that famous verse in the 11th canto, Bhayam Dvitiya Abhiniveshatasyat. And that meaning is that fear arises when a living entity misidentifies himself as the material body because of absorption in the external illusory energy of the Lord. That is 11.237. So fear arises when a living entity misidentifies himself as the material body because of absorption in the external illusory energy of the Lord. When the living entity then turns away from the Supreme Lord, he also forgets his own constitutional position as a servant of the Lord. This is bewildering, fearful condition is affected by the potency for illusion called Maya. So as soon as you turn away from Krishna, then you face Maya, because Maya is in the back of Krishna. So Krishna, as soon as we turn our back to Krishna, we're facing the illusory energy. And that is what brings so much fear. And that's why the pervading emotion that you can see all over the world is fear. There's a lot of fear everywhere. So what is the solution? So the purpose of bhakti yoga is to reawaken our real identity. That child who's in that video game and is like completely absorbed, the parent will eventually like shake them up or turn off the screen and get them out of that state. So the pure devotee actually wakes us up from that illusion and brings us back to the reality. And what is that word for that? Reestablishing our connection with Krishna? Sambandha. And interesting, that word bandha is related to the word pada, which is in this verse, which is bound. Sam means together, and bandha means bound. So the real meaning of sambandha is the understanding which binds us to Krishna. So that's sambandha. So in one way, as jivas, we are going to be bound either by the illusory energy or by love for Krishna. And the amazing thing is that when we're bound in love with Krishna, we're free. We're freer than anything. That kind of bondage is not the bondage of this world. Even in this world, we have that concept that everyone wants like a perfect relationship, and they're looking to be, tie the knot, and we'll be together forever. But the binding, people want that to be so much in love with somebody that they're bound together, So what to speak of that relationship with Krishna, which is already there. We're already connected to Krishna. It's not something artificial. So as soon as we start to establish again our relationship with Krishna, sambandha, then that chain that's connecting us to this illusory energy, Krishna starts to sever that. And there's one verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita that's such a beautiful verse. It's from Madhya Lila, chapter 22, text 33. So it's Madhya 22:33. And this is a really beautiful verse that one could recite before chanting japa or doing kirtan, because it establishes again our sambandha and our desire for establishing our relationship with Krishna. One is immediately freed from the clutches of Maya if he seriously and sincerely says, "My dear Lord Krishna, although I have forgotten you for so many long years in this material world, today I am surrendering unto you. I am your sincere and serious servant. Please engage me in your service." If you like, you could repeat after me. We can just say this prayer, because it's such a nice prayer that if we say it together, it's very powerful. So maybe you can repeat after me. My dear Lord Krishna, although I have forgotten you for so many long years in the material world, today I am surrendering unto you. I am your sincere and serious servant. Please engage me in your service. And this is what Prabhupada, when he would explain the meaning of the Mahamantra, he would say it means, please, Radha, O Krishna, please engage me in your service. Very simple, right? And that's the mood of when we're chanting, that mood of connection, sambandha. And as soon as we make that prayer, Krishna's saying here, he immediately releases the living entity from Maya. If that prayer is coming out of sincerity and seriousness. The word here is seriously and sincerely making this prayer. When Vibhishan came to Lord Ramachandra and surrendered, the Vanaras were all worried because he's the brother of Ravana. So they said, "Oh, you shouldn't accept him. He could be a traitor. He could cause a lot of problems for us." And Ram said, famously, "It is my vow that if one only once seriously surrenders unto me, saying, 'My dear Lord, from this day I am yours,' and prays to me for courage, I shall immediately award courage to that person, and he will always remain safe from that time on." What a beautiful promise of the Lord. So chanting the holy name is a call to reconnect with Krishna. Please, again, engage me in your service. Please help me come back to the reality. I'm bound by this world. Please help me come back to who I really am as your eternal servant. Let me be bound in love with you. Because once we are bound in love with Krishna, this material world will not have such an effect on us anymore. Now, interestingly, sometimes when we hear this, we think that as we practice devotional service, the problems will be going away, but actually, it's not that the problems will go away. It's more that our perception will change of the problems, and they won't have a effect on us. So the body causes problems, the mind causes problems, and then the situation causes problems. So the body, there's just ups and downs in the health. Then we have the mind, which is even more intense. When the mind gets hooked on something or gets something triggers the mind, that can be almost like a even heavier thing than the body, because the mind, we really identify closely with the mind. We identify closely with the body too, but the mind is even closer because it's subtler. So we really identify when the mind is saying something, we tend to really focus on that and get hooked on that. And then situation, just like this past few days, it's been raining nonstop, right? And it's been kind of constricting, and not, for some of us that we can't go out. It's a little bit constraining. I was also thinking during the COVID time how we were all kind of confined. It was like constricting. And sometimes life will be like that. It will just, without our wanting it, it'll just be more, relationships will be harder, situation will be harder, everything will be just harder. There's certain periods of our life that will be like that. And it's not that as we practice devotional service, the health will get better, the mind will get better, the situation will get better, but it's that we'll be able to, because of our strong inner connection with Krishna, we will not be as much affected by it. But it only comes when that connection with Krishna is very strong. And I really, that's one thing I really liked about what you said yesterday, Marge, is that the connection is internal, that reciprocation that we feel with Krishna is an internal reciprocation. So externally, things may be going the same, but that internal connection with Krishna, if that's really deep, then it doesn't really matter what's going on in the external world. We'll be able to handle anything because we'll have that internal connection with Krishna. So how to revive this lost relationship with Krishna? As we know, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunai Shravanadi Shuddhachite Karaye Udhai. So Nitya Siddha, this relationship with Krishna, is not something that we have to artificially create. It's already there. It's there. And how does it awaken? Shravana, Adi. So Shravana is hearing, and Adi is the other processes of devotional service. By doing these, the heart becomes purified and we are able to re-establish that relationship with Krishna. It's, I heard one class where someone explained, just, how Krishna means all attractive, right? Krishna means the one who attracts everyone. And we, as living entities, we're naturally attracted to Krishna. Just like a magnet, a nail, a filing, immediately is attracted to a magnet. But the problem is that we're covered with rust. And when you have a rusted nail, it won't go towards the magnet. So this process, this devotional process, cleanses off that rust so that, again, we become attracted to Krishna. It's our natural condition. It's our natural condition, but we're so covered over with a lot of things. And how do we get that connection again? It's through the devotee. And recently we were hearing the classes by Haladar Swami, and he was again and again emphasizing that it's through the devotees, the mercy of the devotees, that we can reconnect our relationship with Krishna. It's not that on our own we can just go into the spiritual world, okay, here I am. No, it's always through the devotees, and the mercy of the devotees is so important so that we can reestablish our relationship with Krishna. And then there was a few other points that I was contemplating about reestablishing that sambandha with Krishna that helps to reestablish that relationship. And these are some of these points I read in the book of Sachinandan Swami about the holy name, where he talks, there's a chapter on sambandha, how to chant in sambandha. And one thing a few tips that he gave was, Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the Harinam Chintamani, he gave a 3-step process how to chant with a sense of connection. And the first step is I am an atomic particle of consciousness and the eternal servant of Krishna. To just consciously remember, I'm an atomic particle of consciousness and the eternal servant of Krishna. And then Krishna, second one is, Krishna is the infinite conscious entity and my only master. And the third is, this material world is a prison house meant to reform my adverse tendencies and teach me to be present in my relationship with Krishna. So these three things, if we read them and contemplate on them and chant with this mood, then it connects us in that relationship. I am an atomic particle of consciousness and the eternal servant of Krishna. Krishna is the infinite conscious entity and my only master. This material world is a prison house meant to reform my adverse tendencies and teach me to be present in my relationship with Krishna. And another important factor that helps establish that relationship is prayer. And we may feel that we're not qualified to pray to Krishna because we are so covered over. And we can definitely read the prayers of previous acharyas because they help us get the mood. But at the same time, we can also offer our own prayers to Krishna. And we just start from where we're at. We may not be at the highest level, but wherever we're at, we can offer prayers to Krishna from that level. And I really liked here what Satyananda Maharaj, he kind of gave an example of a prayer of somebody who's maybe, just on a, like me, just kind of beginning. I know you and I have a relationship, Krishna. I may not always feel it, but please don't take this personally. It's just my mind. I can't help that I'm weak. Only you can help me. And then he said, you can pray for the courage to turn away from Maya. But if in the moment you can't or don't want to give up certain things, you can pray that soon the day comes when I can pray intensely for that courage. So maybe we don't even want to give up the things, we don't want Krishna to take away our attachments right now, but we can at least, from the point where we can at least approach, whatever way we approach Krishna, just share our hearts with him. And just starting that process starts that connection and that relationship. And finally is the importance of hearing, Shravana. As we know from Rukmini's story herself, she as a young girl, she was constantly hearing about Krishna, and that's how her attachment grew for Krishna, to such an extent that she was convinced, I want Krishna, I don't want anybody else, just from hearing. So a consistent daily practice of hearing, again, establishes our relationship with Krishna. There's some amnesia patients who also, sometimes just by reminding them or talking or showing them or letting them hear music that was something that they played in their childhood or something, triggers some memory. So, but even more powerful than that is the spiritual sound vibration. It connects to the spirit soul, and that reawakens our, oh yes, I'm a servant of Krishna, and I want to again connect to Krishna. These are some points. There's so many topics to talk about how to reestablish our relationship with Krishna. And here, the people of Vidarbha, the residents of Vidarbha, as they're seeing Rukmini and Krishna, they're thinking, oh Krishna, you deserve Rukmini. Oh Rukmini, you deserve Krishna. And they're just praying that this beautiful relationship will happen because they're bound by their love for this divine couple. And we can pray also to these are not ordinary citizens. These are advanced devotees who can have Rukmini as their princess. It's not ordinary. So we can pray to these residents of Vidarbha that we can also get this swelling love and that we'll be bound by that love, so that we'll be so much bound by that love that we will no longer be bound by the love of, or the so-called love of this world, attraction of this world that keeps us bound here. Would anyone like to add anything or anything? Yes, Prabhu.
point about the fact that this world is full of fear, and that we have to have Krishna there, and that having Krishna in the heart protects us from the kind of fear that's in this world. Now, all of us are on a spectrum of devotion. You know, I'm not very advanced, but some other people may be very advanced. So what does this having Krishna, this feeling of Krishna in the heart protecting us look like? I mean, what does it look like for you, or what do you think it, how can a person who's like not very advanced, maybe they're just coming to Krishna consciousness, how can they understand that?
So maybe other devotees can also share. For me, it's keeping the holy name always in the heart, and the form of, or the meditation on Krishna's lotus feet, which is the holy name also, and feeling Krishna's presence through that, and also just seeing how everything is arranged so nicely by Krishna in my life, like that. But if anyone else would like to share something on this point, how to keep, yes. I think Prabhu. Okay. Yeah.
I think you mentioned in your talk that fear arises out of identification with the material world and the material body and the mind. That's the source of fear. And so if we, to the extent that we don't identify with these things, and we know who we are, actually, then fear automatically just goes.
Yes, thank you.
Just to clarify, you were asking, how do we know? How do we know? I think my spiritual master was speaking about it yesterday, and that's reciprocation. Because when you're practicing devotional service, you definitely get reciprocation from Krishna, and the degree to which you are attentive versus inattentive is the degree to which he reciprocates. And so I think all of us have had reciprocation as an experience, and I think that validates the process, gives us the courage to face fearful situations, and I can speak, from my own personal experience. One day I had a job, the next day it was going to end, I had no idea, and I had already contacted one company about a job. They said, no, we've already hired. Very next day, they called back and said, the person we hired quit. Can you start tomorrow? I mean, and I'm sure we've all had similar experiences. That's just an example. But I would say it's the reciprocation that Krishna gives us validates how.
Thank you. Mother Johnny.
Thank you for a very nice class, by the way. Alongside the same line that Gopi is talking about, what occurred to me was the principle of faith. And faith is increasing as we have experiences like Gopi and Srila Maharaj are talking about. As we practice and we see some specific results, then our faith increases. So in this way, And another thing that I was thinking about when you were talking about intelligence is the last verse of chapter 3 of the Bhagavad Gita. At the beginning of the chapter, Krishna said, and Arjuna says in verse 2, my intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which would be most beneficial for me. And then at the very end, very definitive verse, thus knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, which is something you have presented today, to the material senses, mind and intelligence. Almighty arm Arjuna, one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence. In other words, we have to do a little bit of work ourselves. So first of all, try to become transcendental somehow to the material senses, mind and intelligence, and then steady the mind, and thus by spiritual strength, conquer this insatiable enemy known as lust, which you presented at the beginning of the class, which is the cause of us making mistakes over and over and over again.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvandam Maravindanalayatasham Varhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Agom Vikamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Kriya Priti Manti Vasyanti Panti Kayanti Jiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham
Amen. Namagom Vishnu Pajaya Krishna Prastaya Putale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Samini Namane Shrimate Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Vachar Nagini Sesha Sunyavati Vatsya Jagati Satarane Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Siva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Siva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Golokanana, Radha Golokanana, Dragate. Jaya Radha Golokanana, Radha Golokanana, Dragate. Jaya Radha, hey. Nade Dayarane, Dayarate. Nayarate, Nade Dayarate, Dayarate. Dayarate. Jai Om.
Yeah.
Just a quick announcement before Shashastika is that we have Harinam Sankirtan on Sunday after all the weather gets better, and it's going to be in Chapel Hill at 12 o'clock at the between 12 and 2 at the post office on Franklin Street.
So another announcement, today is Trishta Das's birthday.
According to my devotee life, I'm 50 years old today. Okay. Chaito darpanam marjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam shreya kairavya chandrika vitaranam vijavadu jivanam anandam buddhi vardhanam. Thank you. Swaranam, thank you. Arvatma snapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna sankirtanam nam namakari bahuda nija sarva shaktis tatrapita nihamita smarane nakala etadrishita vakripa bhagavan mamapi dordaiva midrishami hajjani nanuraga Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi suhishuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari nadaram najanam nasundarim kavitamava jagadisha kamaye mama janmani ishvare bhavatad bhaktir ohaitaki twai ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam buddha Kribayata vapadabata kanchija stita duli sadrishim vachintaya nayanam galashu daraya varanam gadgadurudaya gira pulakarnishitam vabhukada tavanamagrahane bhavishyati yugayatam nimishena chakshusha pravashayatam shunayatam jagat sarvam govindam virahename Ashlishya vapadamritam nastumam adarshanam marmahata karotuva yatatava vidadatulam pato matprananatastu saeva napara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw on the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me brokenhearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for He's always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Shri Shri Shastika Ki Jai.